Arizona Squatters Law, the new 2026 legislation, SB 1426. So imagine you've got a showing scheduled at your vacant rental, and a prospective tenant is meeting you at the property at, let's say, 3 o'clock. You pull up to show the house, and oddly, there are lights on in the house, and you can actually see people moving around inside. And you're also looking at the front porch saying, why is there furniture on my front porch? Your stomach sinks, and that's when you think, holy crap, squatters are living in my house. This is the exact situation the new Arizona Squatter Law is designed to address. The law is designed to remove squatters in days instead of weeks or months. But the new law only works if you check off every item on a very specific list in the law. So if you miss one item, you may be stuck in a regular eviction that can drag on for weeks or months. Hi, Steve Schultz here from Blue Fox Properties. First thing I need to do is give a disclaimer, and that disclaimer is I am not an attorney. If you need assistance with squatters in your house, I recommend you contact an attorney who is knowledgeable in landlord-tenant law in Arizona. So this video is not legal advice. It is designed to serve for informational purposes. So let's dive in. So what is a law and when does it come into effect? So officially, the name of the law is Senate Bill 1426. Actually, below, I'm going to attach a link where you can actually download it. It's only 3 pages long, so it's pretty simple, not too complicated. So this new law amends 2 existing statutes, 12-1171 titled Acts which constitute forcible entry or detainer, and then 12-1173 titled Definition of Forcible Detainer, Substitution of Parties, and Applicability. Now this bill was officially signed into law by the governor on May 29th, 2026, and the bill's actually scheduled to take effect on September 12th, 2026. So as of the recording of this video, this law is not yet in effect. It's also interesting to note that this bill did indeed have bipartisan support. So what is the core problem it fixes? So we're talking about squatters, and the first thing to realize is there is no official definition of squatter in the Arizona Revised Statute. But the unofficial definition of a squatter is someone who is an unauthorized occupant or criminal trespasser. Now, the old law treated squatter removal like a slow eviction case. So although the squatter was in the property illegally, it could still take a long time to get them out. But this new law creates a clearer, faster process for property owners to remove squatters. Now, before we walk through the legislation in more detail, if you don't want to deal with this directly yourself and you have a rental house, feel free to contact us about managing your Tucson rental. So there are 9 parts in the legislation to determine if the occupant is a squatter. Now, each of these following conditions must be true for the fast track process of removing the squatter to apply. So let's go through that list. So the number 1 thing is the requesting person is the property owner or the property owner's authorized agent. Now, when it says requesting person, that means you've asked this squatter to leave. Number 2, the property includes a residential dwelling or is being used for residential purposes. So for a rental house, obviously check that box. Number 3, an unauthorized person is unlawfully occupying the property. Well, again, if they're a squatter, that's the case. Number 4, the property owner has directed the unauthorized person to leave. So again, this is telling the squatter, hey, you're in my house, get the heck out. Number 5, the property was not open to the public at the time the unauthorized person entered the property. So here again, typically that's going to be done in the middle of the night or who knows when, but that's obviously going to be the case. Number 6, the unauthorized person is not a current or former tenant at that property. Now, why this is important is because if that is the case, then that goes into landlord-tenant law, which is a whole separate thing that this does not address. Number 7, the unauthorized person did not have a prior verbal or written agreement to cohabitate with the property owner in that residential dwelling. Here again, if that was the case, that would be landlord-tenant law and a whole different scenario. Number 8, the unauthorized person is not an immediate family member of the property owner. So again, if somebody is in your property squatting, you're going to know that that's not your family member. All right, number 9, there is no litigation pending between the property owner and the unauthorized person. So that is the 9-point checklist to check off. So what happens once someone is determined to be a squatter? So what can happen now with the new law, once that actually does go into effect, is a court can actually issue a writ of restitution immediately after judgment. So there's no waiting period. And in fact, as part of the law, the Arizona Supreme Court has been directed to write new rules for expedited resolution of these cases. The real world effect is that police can act with a court order in days instead of weeks or months. So what it does not change, it doesn't change landlord-tenant law. Renters keep all the protections provided in the Arizona Residential Landlord-Tenant Act. It doesn't apply to family members, roommates with an agreement, or anyone with pending litigation against the owner. Now, this is what we just addressed in those 9 points. It's important to note that this is not an eviction law. It's specifically for non-tenant squatters. Remember, the eviction law is designed for landlord-tenant situations, and in the case of the squatters, those are non-tenants. So how much do you need to worry about squatters? Well, based on our portfolio of houses we've managed over the years, squatters are rare, but it does happen on occasion. This legislation gives landlords important protections that they need in these instances. So that's it for the anti-squatter legislation. Don't forget to subscribe below. See you on the next video.